Hi everyone. I'm not going to be doing a full breakdown of UFC Singapore here, but I did want to talk about a concept that I think is interesting and may not get much attention. I don't know if there's a name for this, but I'm going to call it counterintuitive scarcity. So, what do I mean by that? Um, Normally, when we get scarcity, what we think of are lower owned assets, no matter what we're playing, that either people don't know about, so they don't pick them, or they suck, so they don't pick them. Therefore, we get scarcity. If we pick them and they do well, we take home the majority, or rather, we take home those points and we don't share those points with a lot of other people, right? Okay. But what I want to talk about here is scarcity we can get by picking on high priced assets that a lot of people won't take for one reason or another. Maybe they haven't been performing well lately, or maybe people don't think they're that good in general or overhyped. And there are two such assets I see on this card. One is Alex Caceres at 9,100, and the other is Holly Holm at 9,600. Starting with Caceres here. Yeah, I like Alex Caceres, number one. And if you go back and watch that Jason Knight fight, he looked really good almost up until the finishing sequence. Um, I think he uses angles well. He was doing this nice thing where he down parries. So if you don't know what I mean by that, it's like Knight would have his hands up here, or he would paw out a little bit, and Caceres would bat that down and throw over the top. So he does a lot of interesting, creative things like that, and he also uses his range pretty well. The end of the first round, he got slammed down, and he came out in the second round still looking good. Got taken down again, and that was the beginning of the end. So when we look at Caceres in the way that maybe your average player would look, we click on his name here and we see what? Okay, well he's lost his last two, and he's not really a name that people know. He's not going to be, um, I don't know, like let's say you're obviously thinking of guys who are typically high priced. You're not going to be like your Conor McGregor or your Nate Diaz or something. He's not going to be a name that people usually know. So they're going to look at this guy and they're going to say, well, why am I spending 9,100 on him? Uh, you know, and I mean, in all fairness, he hasn't finished a fight since 2014. That's a long time. But again, like I said, I like his skill set, and I think that his problem is that he's inconsistent, right? But if he comes to fight the entire time, I feel like he has a very nice range of skills that he can put to work. The other thing is that he's 12-10, which is not great. But he's fighting a guy in Rolando D who's making his UFC debut. Rolando D, I mean, he looks like a good fighter. He puts together combinations well, ends them with kicks, has some vicious kicks, but he doesn't seem to like to grapple. He did like a baseball slide takedown in his last fight, but didn't really want to play on the ground. Just sort of kicked legs and waited for his opponent to stand. So it doesn't look to me like he's all that much of a grappler, and I just question if he can beat Caceres over a 3 round fight, striking in a kickboxing match. And I mean, it wouldn't shock me if Caceres finished him. Again, he's not much of a finisher, but even if he doesn't, I think he can rack up a decent amount of points. Let's see here. I mean that Cole Miller. I mean, there were takedowns involved, but that Cole Miller decision win was 131. That's his last win. Let's see. Well, we have to go back pretty far uh, for his wins after that. The one before that, 72, so that's not great. But I mean, he likely is overrated just in general. But in fact, he certainly is. But if you're looking for scarcity and a guy who should win, I think that he's a pretty decent play, at least on some cards if you're making multiple lineups, and a play that not many people will have counterintuitively again because he is that expensive. And the next one, as I said, is Holly Holm. First of all, there's no denying that 9,600 is way too much for Holly Holm. But you might want to plug her in a couple because obviously we have the 5 round fight, which always helps racking up points. And this is I think the best matchup that Holly Holm has had in quite some time. If you look at Holly Holm, I mean not Misha Tate, but if you look at how Shevchenko and then uh, uh, Jermaine Durandamy beat her, they were very content to play a range counter striking game. And Betch is a counter fighter to start, but she inevitably gets drawn into brawls. You watched that last fight against Marion Renault. She ate a bunch of body kicks. In fact, I mean that sequence in the third round that started her you know, getting worked was she went in with a punch, tried to dive in with a punch, and left herself open and got caught with a head kick. So I think I don't trust Kahea to play a disciplined range game for 5 rounds, and I think Holm has a good shot at a stoppage here, at least as good as she's had since the Rousey fight, and I wouldn't be surprised if her ownership was the lowest we've seen in a main event fighter for a while, just because of the high price. She's on a 3 fight losing streak now, and to be honest, she wasn't that impressive in any of those fights since the Misha Tate fight that she lost. I mean, the randomly fight, she knocked her down twice, but other than that, she really didn't do much. There was a lot of wall install in there. I mean, not like intentional wall install. She was trying to get takedowns, but just couldn't do it. Um, so yeah, just to sum up real quick here, I'm gonna have at least a few lineups with a home Caceres pairing in there because I think they should win their matches. They have a chance to win them convincingly, and they're gonna be lower owned based on their prices and who they are. So that's just something to think about when you're constructing lineups. Just a way to get scarcity that maybe some people hadn't considered in how they build their lineups. So let me know what you think about that. I'll be live tweeting as I always do, and I show my cards sometimes. We just missed taking down a GPP last week, so we're gonna try for that again, and that's at Real Chris Olson on Twitter. And let me know what you think about this strategy in the comment section. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. Uh, Otherwise, good luck everybody, and enjoy the fights.